And I was standing there, and a little pipsqueak of a man came up behind me, and he went, "Hey, hey." I went, "Yes, good afternoon. You're that geezer who plays all those hard men on the telly, aren't you?" I said, "Well, I'm a human being like anybody else. I have to earn a living. You don't look too hard now." And he ran up the escalator. But
good morning, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to welcome one of the most nicest people I know, and one of the only people ever to have told Tom Baker to shut up. Please welcome Brian Croucher.
hello. Hello, welcome to the United States of America. I know it's a strange place for you because there are lots of McDonald's, White Castles, places like that you've never been in. No? You've never been to New York? You've all come from Australia. Am I misinformed? Yes. Anyway, I better sit down, otherwise he'll get angry.
I don't want to sit next to you. I don't like you. Mr. Croucher, welcome to America. When was the last time you were in America?
About 25 years ago.
20? Wow.
Yeah. I've been to Chicago, New Jersey, San Francisco. That's when Blake 7, that's the sister program of Doctor Who this weekend. Oh dear.
Sorry, that was me. Sorry.
See, I've got a very fierce presence. Things happen, you know. It reminds me of the film Network. You know, I was out there a moment ago trying to take a bathroom break, and there were so many people there. I got so confused. I wanted to be William Holden in Network saying, "I'm as mad as hell and I can't take it anymore."
But you say that every day, so that's fine.
I do that every morning when I wake up, yeah. Anyway, yes, I've been all, when Blake 7 first came to the States after it opened at the BBC, a number of us were asked to Chicago was the first one, and I can't give you the exact year, but yeah, that was it, and nothing's changed since, really.
Does it surprise you that, because you are one of the very few, because there aren't many actors that did both Doctor Who and Blake 7,
yeah.
But does the whole sort of sci-fi interest, does that surprise you, that people are really interested? Like, for example, there's no...
Well, it does surprise me, because there's no sex in any of the programs. There's no procreation. There's no winking at people going, "All right."
Well, you couldn't wink as Travis, could you?
337. None of that happens.
Brian, you couldn't wink as Travis, though, could you? Because you were already winking.
No, I could wink with that eye.
Yeah.
In fact, I did quite a lot.
Hello, Serverland. Yeah, it's like that,
Yeah. No, it does surprise me. Because I'm very interested in your inner lives. They're called fantasy lives. We've all got them, but we don't discuss them. Maybe that's why in sci-fi we don't have a fantasy. Is it supposed to be reality or fantasy? I don't quite know.
Well, I think Blake 7 is real, you know. I absolutely...
Do you?
Yeah, of course. Everyone teleports nowadays. It's fine. Yeah.
I think we must find a lunatic asylum for my friend.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Uber for one, please. Thank you very much. So Brian, let's. Obviously, you've had a huge career, and you're still working as well. You're still doing bits and bobs all the time.
No, I'm playing Jack next, not Bob.
I want to take you back to the start of your career. How did you get into acting? What happened there?
Well, it was escaping the police. Well, we've all been delinquent when we were young. Come on, put your hands up, delinquents. That's it. I was a delinquent in the East End of London. And see, in those days, they put me away for a driving offence. I thought I could cheat the world, you know? So I'm driving around very irresponsibly with no tax, no insurance, 4 tyres and a steering wheel. But I got caught and they put me away for 6 months. But these days they haven't got room because there's all the druggies, all the stoners. They're all locked in prison these days. It's the driving offences. You don't. So yeah, and I came out and can anybody spell recidivist? Yeah? Go on. R-E... Oh, it's all right, yeah. R-E-C-I-D-I-V-I-S-T. That'll do, yeah.
Correct. Next word, dinosaur. There we go.
The recidivist is somebody, for those who don't know, like my friend Ian here, is somebody who returns to prison year after year after year. I didn't want to do that, so I went to evening school. I found a drama course. I went there, and from there I became a stage manager. And then I thought, nobody recognises me backstage in the dark. I need to be in front of the audience. And so I took a drama course after the stage management course, and it did help me because I've directed over the years, so I know what goes behind the scenery and what goes on in front. And believe me, what goes on behind the scenery, can't tell you. No.
He'll tell you later in the bar.
Yeah, so that's how I became an actor by default. Some people want to be doctors at the age of 4. I didn't want to work at the age of 4, but of course I found myself by default an actor at a drama school in London called LAMDA, the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art.
Who were you at drama school with? Who were your contemporaries?
In my year, we were all duds, I think. No, in the year previous was Logan Roy. Fuck off, Logan Roy. Sorry.
That's what he says.
I know this is a Christian country, but I was just doing an imitation of Brian Cox playing Logan Roy. I tell you, this is true. I'm not name dropping now, but I was speaking to Brian on the telephone about a few weeks ago.
So just to confirm, this is Brian Cox, yeah?
This is Brian Cox.
So Brian Cox, everyone know who Brian Cox is? Yep. Okay.
Succession. Anyway.
He was also in An Adventure in Space and Time. He played Sidney Newman.
He was in Succession. I was in Procession.
So yeah, you were saying. So
Anyway, so everybody knows his catchphrase in Succession is "F off," and he said, "Like you, I've lived under the radar for many years, being a character actor, a supporting actor, etc." He said, but now I'm playing the leading part in Succession. It went worldwide. Everybody knows him. He said he was in Shanghai. Yeah, I've been in Shanglo. But anyway, he was in Shanghai. He went around a corner and there were 2 Chinese ladies and they went, "Ha! Logan Roy, tell us to fuck off." Yeah, so Brian was there with an actor called Martin Shaw. In my year was Anna Corder Marshall. She's I don't know, she's not known for anything, but a very good actress. Maureen Lipman. Yeah, I was around with a load of people that are now, some of them are dead and some of them are 70 odd. And nobody's going to beat me. I'm in front. I'm in front of the race. Yeah. Anyway,
so drama school came knocking. You went there for 3 years?
Yeah, I did a 1 year stage management course, and then I converted. I'm a trans.
Okay.
Yeah, I converted. I was converted, to electric from petrol. No, this is not funny.
Bad jokes.
It's not funny.
If you notice in the small print of the brochure of this weekend, Brian Kreitcher, bad jokes.
That's it. Get him off. Where's the hook? And then I did 3 years drama course, and then came out to Sweet FA.
But you were in sort of like in the 70s. There was a lot of work coming your way. A lot of the types of characters you were playing were those sort of hard and tough and type criminal types.
Yeah.
Jack of the Lad sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I could play those because I wasn't in prison anymore. I could play the criminals, couldn't I? Yeah. I mean, I was on the escalator at somewhere like Oxford Circus in London, and I was standing there, and a little pipsqueak of a man came up behind me, and he went, "Hey, hey." I went, "Yes, good afternoon. You're that geezer who plays all those hard men on the telly, aren't you?" I said, "Well, I'm a human being like anybody else. I have to earn a living. You don't look too hard now." And he ran up the escalator. But yeah.
So we all know you for Doctor Who and Blake 7. So let's talk about...
You're lucky I don't even know myself.
Your wife doesn't even know you, but that's fine. So let's talk about Doctor Who, because that happened before Blake 7 for you. So Michael E. Bryant was the director of Robots of Death.
That's right.
So let's talk about Robots of Death. So you were in it for 1 episode.
2. All
right, okay, we see you again dead, but that's fine.
I got paid for 2. Come on, let's bottom line it all, right?
Yeah. So
a dollar, a pound note, a yen, makes the world go round. Woo!
So it's going to be one of those panels, ladies and gentlemen. Robots of Death. How did you? Did you audition for it, or was it an offer?
Well, no, I think I worked with Michael on Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For the BBC. We shot that in Corsica. There's a funny story there. Paul Copley, who was asked if he'd like to play Ben Gunn, those of you who know about Treasure Island, play Ben Gunn. Well, Ben Gunn lived in a cave, you see. So the BBC had phoned his agent and said, would you like to play Ben Gunn in Treasure Island? It's 8 weeks in Corsica. And he said, don't worry about the fee, I'll do it, I'll go. 2 weeks later, it was, they still want you, but it's 4 weeks in Corsica, 3 weeks in Devon, and 1 week in the studio. And he said, I'll still do it, don't worry, I'll do it. After that, it became 1 week in Corsica, 5 weeks in Devon, and 2 in the studio. He said, I'll still do it. He said, but all your stuff is shot in the studio. You don't go to Corsica, you don't go to Devon, you just, it's Studio 5, Shepherd's Bush, BBC. Anyway, so then I did work, I was Squire Trelawney's manservant. It's the first time I've ever been on my knees to anybody. And he was called Hunter. And we used to have a famous car in England called the Hillman Hunter. So I named my character Hillman Hunter. And Michael Bryant did laugh. He thought it was funny. He said, but you can't say Hillman Hunter because this is the BBC and we don't have advertising revenue. Anyway, I did that. And as you do, if you do a good job with directors or producers and you don't sleep with their wives, you get asked back.
So there we are. We're on Robots of Death now. So
I slept with his daughter. Yeah. No, stop it. Stop it.
Stop. Just stop, Brian. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Keep it clean. So, Robots of Death, it wasn't really your first sci-fi, because you'd done a thing called the Jensen Code before, hadn't you?
Oh,
which nobody in here has probably ever heard of.
Way back, yeah, that was for it was the ITV network, ATV up in Birmingham, yes. Yeah. And I was. What were those people that used to run those courses? Outward Bound.
Outward Bounds, yeah.
Yeah,
and it all filmed in caves in the forest.
In the caves near where Alan Stevens lives, up there. I did that.
But
children's TV, that was.
That was, yeah. But
I didn't swear once.
No. Wow. So Robots of Death, it was, you auditioned for it, you got the part. What are your memories of working with Tom Baker and Louise Jameson?
Oh, Tom, I like Tom. He's, we all know that's why he got the part, because he's a bit of an eccentric, is Tom. He's an acquired taste, as it were. And it was nice to meet him. I hadn't met him before. And we used to go, after rehearsals, go drinking together in Soho. There's quite a famous pub for media people called the French House. The York Minster used to be the French House. It's where the French resistance were based in the Second World War, because Gaston ran the French House. And so we used to go and have drinks after rehearsals, and I had great fun with Tom. I had great respect. I haven't seen him for years, but it'd be just like yesterday if he walked through that door now.
And what was it like working on Robots of Death? Because back then you had rehearsal time, didn't you? You had a week's rehearsal, and then you would
That's record? Correct, yeah. There was a place in Acton, very close to Shepherd's Bush, BBC, and it had 8 floors of rehearsal rooms, and the actors used to call it the Acton Hilton. And there was a pub round the corner. There's a lot of drinking, that actors do. They do more so than yourselves, because we have to get in the zone, I know. And so you always meet somebody you hadn't seen for 4 years or something. And what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing the Morecambe and Wise show. Oh, yeah. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Yeah. So we used to rehearse up there for. I don't know. I can't remember, Ian. I mean, it was a couple of weeks.
It would have been usually about. It was a week's rehearsal, and then you would record.
But of course, nowadays it's all done on film. Independent film companies, and you rehearse, record, record, moving on. That's how they're made these days. You don't, and of course it cuts back. The word "moving on," when you say, "Oh, excuse me," I had my hand in my pocket in that scene. I'd really like to have it. Moving on. Thank you. Moving on, Brian.
Moving on, Brian. I suppose really your biggest sci-fi claim to fame is Blake 7. But before you went for the part of Travis, I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but you auditioned for another part in Blake 7, didn't you?
Mr. Blake, yeah. I've always had a contention, only one contention. Many intentions, but only one contention. Didn't those of you who know about Blake 7, didn't they all escape from a intergalactic penitentiary?
Yep.
They were Shakespearean actors. They weren't criminals.
Some of the acting was criminal.
Aye.
No names, Brian.
I'll get my laser out in a minute. No, that was my contention. I just didn't think it was totally believable, because everybody. It happens in all programs. I go, he's too nice to be a criminal. And even though I was away for 6 months, I did meet some odd people. See that French bloke over there with a beret? He chopped up his wife and fed her to the pigs. He's serving us food, you know. Well, that's America is different, but they didn't seem like recidivists to me.
They weren't sort of your typical working class.
Nah, they weren't.
They weren't gangsters, were they? No.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
Had you got the part of Blake, have you ever thought about what you would have done with the character? Did you have any ideas, or was it just... What would have you done if you were Blake?
He was obviously gay, and that's where the sex would have come into it, and made it a little bit more blue-pinky instead of, you know, pinky.
Oh, okay. Brian Croucher, everybody. Brian Croucher.
No, I mean, I seriously, I do have problems with reality and fantasy, and fantasy is not. Fantasy is there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But had you got... I
talk a lot of rubbish.
Clearly he does. So Brian, had you got... So you didn't ever think about, you know, oh, this is a part I really want to get to be Blake. It was just, I'm going up for it, give it a go, see what happens.
In all seriousness, Ian, and you know, I am a very serious person.
Seriously?
When we slept together, you know?
Yeah, I remember it well.
I remember it well. Anyway, I'm grateful for any part that anybody gives me. I really am, because it's not easy being an actor. It's every day the phone doesn't ring, you're rejected. Not because you're not talented, it's because they don't want a 6 foot whatever, you know. So it's a difficult life. So I try to make the best of every part that's offered, and try to. They do limit you. I try to extend it a bit that way. I mean, nowadays I play granddads a lot now, and they're usually nice people. The granddads that I play, because I played a lot of nasty people in the past. It was always shut up, get in the car, give money.
Or what's the word? The word. The word.
The word. The word. It's all a grand illusion, Blake. It's all a grand illusion.
So there you are. We're on the subject of Travis. So
Travis.
Yes. So there you were for a year, regular work in Blake 7.
Yeah.
Were you happy with where the character went? Did you know he was going to be, or was he killed off?
He went to the employment exchange after episode 13. I wasn't happy about that. I know what you're... So Gareth, who played Blake, and we were up at lunchtime at the BBC canteen, having a tonic water with no vodka. And he went, look at that. He said, there's Trevor Nunn. He's an artistic of the Royal Shakespeare Company. He told me, before I started this, 2 series ago, he said, no, I can't give you bigger parts next season at the Royal Shakespeare Company. He said, go away, play some leading parts in theatre and all that, or television, and come back and we'll... He said, I am now... Brian, am I not playing the leading... I said, Gareth, you're playing the leading... I'm not playing the leading part. And... shut that door. What's he doing?
He keeps locking. Carry on with the story, Brian.
Anyway,
back in the room, Brian.
Anyway,
back in the room.
He said, I'm going to go and tell him that I am playing Blake in Blake 7. And of course, this is what he did. He came back and he said, Trevor's promised me a season up at Stratford. And I went, oh, thanks a lot. Because those who know about Blake 7, my raison d'etre was to kill Blake. I was a psycho.
No acting required.
I researched it. I became a friend of Ian's. So it was written in. Gareth said, I'm leaving at the end of because every series was one contract. You weren't contracted And so he said to the producer, I'm leaving. And of course, they had to write the last 2 episodes, me chasing him, and then me killing him, and then vanishing down a hole in a planet. And that was it. So I would have liked to have gone on. And when you're in a series, unless you really do sleep with the director's wife, you do want to go on to the next series, same as EastEnders. I would have liked to have gone on to do 3 or 4 series of EastEnders, but I think it's something about me. Would you say, Ian?
I'm saying nothing, Brian.
Oh, okay.
So,
anyway,
but
that was the story about Blake Seven.
Yeah, but you are still playing Travis though for Big Finish.
Oh yes, yeah. Now because look, I'm not as thin as I was, so I have to do audio now. It's all voice. Yeah. Those that you don't know about the Big Finish, they've written 2 or 3 stories for Travis to be in and to play the leading character. And it's great. And, you've all heard that one. You don't have to learn the lines. You can just read it as long as you don't rustle the paper. And because as long as it doesn't sound like you're reading it from the script. Callie, I love you, Callie. I've always loved you, Callie. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we've done some audio with Jan and with Sally. In fact, one of them was quite funny because lovely Stephen Greif, who played Travis 1, who's no longer with us, bless him. They wrote one. You most probably be able to buy it. Yeah. The Clone Masters. I clone Travis, so we get a double hit. But he's got all these cheeky lines like, yes, Travis, okay, Travis. And the way he played it, I tell you. We had fun. It was good fun. It was good fun. Big Finish, yeah. Yeah.
They are good. And also, we want to just talk about, there's a mutual friend of ours called Alan Stevens, who is, I don't know if anybody's heard of the Calidor City range of audios. So, yeah, brilliant. Okay, wow.
Yeah, I've worked a lot with Alan. Yeah.
So Alan has released this weekend on his website a free, sort of Blake 7, but it's not officially Blake 7, audio. We've got some postcards. It's called Gothic. Come and grab a free postcard on Brian's signing desk a bit later or over the weekend. But one of the things I want to ask about, because it's kind of related to Alan, is that one of the things that you've done, Brian, is that especially in the last sort of 10, 15 years, is that you've encouraged new talent and you've supported new talent. What makes you want to do that? So like upcoming directors and not necessarily doing it for the like a big fee or anything. You
have to try and stay fresh, and young talent. Well, they may not be as experienced. When I say experienced, they may not have had the longevity of years like myself and other actors. They come with new ideas, new projects, and I love the energy of young people. I try to stay young myself. I'm only 35, as you all appreciate. I'm moving on. Anyway.
Moving on, Brian.
Yeah. So I just like working with young people. And don't get me wrong, if a job came up with a couple of 100-year-old actors, I'd still take it. I would, because I'd be the youngest person then, wouldn't I?
I'm going to open up the questions to the audience. How are we doing this? Is there a roving mic, or are you going to project? Yeah, if you project, and I'll repeat the question back so in case Brian doesn't hear. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what was it like, for Big Finish getting back into the character for 40 years? How did you do that?
I think it revolves around the writing, and if the writer gets your character correct, he makes it that much easier. I've always said that writers are the gods. They're the not actors. We're the first thing. Hello. The first thing is the writer. The writer, he has an idea, so he goes to a producer. The producer says, "I like that idea of men half horse, half cybernaut. I like it. Go away and write it." So he goes away and writes it. He comes back. Producer buys the idea, the project. They make a project. He goes and gets a director, and the director says, "I don't know men who can play half man, half horse cybernauts. Could you? I'll get a casting director." So you get the casting director. Then you become on the short list because I play horses and Cybermen. It's true, isn't it?
Multi-talented,
Yeah.
clearly.
Anyway, then you get the call, and then you get the short list, and then you are the Cybernaut stroke horse. And you're the first person I'm the first person that you all see, although it originated from the writer. So if the writer gets the nays in the right order, then it's easier for you to play the Cybernaut.
So it was really easy to get back into the role of Travis then for Big Finish.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a very nice person, is he? He's a little bit short-sighted, a little bit bad-mannered, egocentric. He loves his wife. He's got 2 kids. One of them goes to Oxford.
Moving on, Brian.
Sorry.
Let's go to your question, sir.
So you took over from Stephen Grant as Travis, and I just wondered, did you realise, I don't know if you watched the first season and realised you were taking on the role from another actor, and did you look at his performance and try and do different?
No, I've heard that question before. Please, I'm not being rude. But the answer to that is Tarzan, James Bond,
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, yeah, to name but a few. And Hamlet even. You get a different perspective on the character, and a different energy, a different thought level, a different emotional level. I'm giving away a lot of secrets, aren't I? But that's, going back to Tarzan, it was Johnny Weissmuller, Lex Barker, we've had Sean Connery, we've had Roger Moore. They didn't play Tarzan, did they? No. So I didn't actually watch what Stephen gave the BBC. I didn't avoid it. They just gave me this costume to wear and put this eye patch on. Yeah, that was fun. And we just did it. More than that, I can't say. You bite the bullet and go and do you do your own thing. Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that you did really put your own stamp on the part of Travis. You made it your own. By this time, Travis is really he's a little bit more insane. He's really keen on, I want to kill Blake, as opposed to, Stephen did very well with what he did. Stephen was a little bit more reserved, shall we say, but you were... You were more determined to get to the bar.
I was very... I didn't want to kill him. I just wanted to injure him, so we got another season out of it, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly add, because what's surprising is they recast Travis, but when Gareth left, they never recast Blake, and they seem comfortable recasting the character.
That's because Paul Darrow wanted to be the lead.
Yeah.
Any more questions from the audience at all?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Before I sit down, I want to say that that's probably my favorite Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
Part of that is because of the ensemble cast and all the guest stars and everything. They do an amazing job, including yourself. I just want to say thank you because that was really well.
Oh, thank you very much.
It is.
It's very kind.
I'm glad that's a really good point because it is. Robots of Death is very much like an Agatha Christie in space. You know, that murder mystery. You know, who is killing them off one by one.
Yeah.
What are your memories of the supporting cast? What do you remember?
Well, one of the supporting cast was an Asian actor called Tariq Yunus. His father was chief of police in some city in Pakistan, and he chucked Tariq out because Tariq said, "I'm a poet." So he said, "Get out, go to England and be a poet." He became an actor, and we got on very well. I used to go round to his house. He'd cook wonderful meals, curry, obviously, and 1 o'clock in the morning, you'd say, "Tariq, you invited me round for dinner." Well, "Brian, stop it. Have another drink. I'm cooking." It was a great character. Now, who else was there?
Pamela Salem.
Pamela Salem. She lives over here now, doesn't she?
I believe she's moved to France now, actually.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with everyone. Yeah. Was David Bailey in it?
Yep.
Yes. And David Collins.
Yep.
And there was a nice, a beautiful. I think she was a Caribbean lady, but I can't remember her name. And she's gone on the missing list. People have looked for her. And of course Russell Hunter.
Yep.
Dear Russell.
It was directed by Michael E. Bryant.
Yeah. But and sort of me and Louise Jameson, who lives down in Kent, near to where I reside in England. She was Tom's assistant.
Yeah,
wasn't she?
Leela, the character Leela. Yeah.
She didn't wear very many clothes, so. But I kept my eyes to the front. No, they were all very nice. We were all up and coming actors. We must have been in our 20s, 30s, were we?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, but I was very surprised. I think either Ian or somebody said, "But do you know that program Robots of Death that you did for Doctor Who is sort of in the top 6 of all time?"
Yeah.
And
especially the last 2 episodes, Brian.
Right.
Love you really?
No. I tell you a story. There's an actor called Warren Mitchell. Yeah, you know him. And I was we were doing a commercial, and he was trying to smuggle sausages into England or out of England, and I was a customs officer with somebody, with Roy, he's passed on as well. Anyway, so we were doing the dialogue, and I was saying, "Where'd you get these sausages from? What are you doing with sausages?" And whatever the lines were. And of course, the cameramen were all laughing. You can't laugh if you're a cameraman. The camera shakes, isn't it? And so all of a sudden, Warren said, "Stop, stop, stop." He turned to me and he went, "I do the jokes." I said, "Look, it's only what's written down here, Warren. I'm saying what the..." Yeah. So I do the jokes.
I'll remember that. There's another sci-fi project that I briefly want to talk about, which you worked on in the 90s, when, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there was a time when there was no Doctor Who.
Oh.
Has everybody heard of Downtime? Has everybody heard of Shakedown, Return of the Sontarans?
Has anybody been to England? Yeah. You've been to London? Yeah. And you know in the Thames, there's that boat. Is it still moored there?
Yeah.
HMS Belfast. We shot it on there. I thought it was a great idea because it was like a spaceship. All metal, all girders. And who's that? Davis?
Kevin John Davies.
Kevin Davies, yeah. He's one of us. He's a Trekkie and a Blakey and a whatever. And anyway, it was his idea, and he never got it distributed in the end. But it was great working with my dear friend Jan, and getting my screwdriver down that Sontaran's neck. Somebody said, "Take the screwdriver, put it down. You'll kill the Sontaran." I went, "Shut up."
But it was great casting because you had members of the Blake 7 cast and members of the Doctor Who cast.
That's right.
In a complete new.
Sophie Aldred.
Yeah, Sophie. Carol Ann Ford was in it as well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, it was. I've been involved in a lot of sci-fi, a lot of fantasy. I like reality. I'm sitting here in Jersey City with all you librarians. The reality of it is just amazing.
Any more questions for Brian? Yes, sir. Your thoughts? What are your thoughts and lasting memories of the lovely Jacqueline Pearce? Keep them clean, Brian. Keep them clean.
We did look into each other's eyes once or twice. No, Jackie, she was a consummate professional. She played the part straight down the line. She turned up on time. She didn't waver. She played Servalan as she wanted to play it. And Jax became a good friend. You work with people as you do in Sainsbury's or Walmart, or you work with people, and they become your friends. They become your family. I saw her many times after Blake 7. We used to have drinks together around at Jan's place in Canterbury, and we used to laugh together, and we loved each other. Love and laughter. It's very important. That's for all of us.
And on that note of love and laughter, please show your appreciation to Brian Croucher.
This is Brandon McInnes, the voice of Finral in Black Clover, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Please subscribe, please. If you don't, I'll be sad, okay? Thanks. Bye.